The following NBC Universal Privacy Policy can be found on the NBC Universal Privacy website at nbcuniversalprivacy.com/privacy. There will be a link in the video's description. NBC Universal Privacy Policy, last updated November 17, 2025. This privacy policy explains how NBC Universal, including all its brands, such as Hayu, under Universal Pictures Subscription Television Limited, collectively, we, or us, collect, use, and share information from or about you when you use our websites, downloadable applications, browser extensions, interactive TV applications, voice-activated skills, other digital services, connected devices such as theme park devices, and offline services that link to this policy, or if you engage in business with us. NBC Universal Services or services. This privacy policy applies to the NBC Universal services throughout the world. Any additional privacy terms that relate to specific NBC Universal products or services should be read in conjunction with this policy. As one of the world's leading media and entertainment companies, we offer NBC Universal services through a wide range of businesses and under many different brands. The data controller of your personal information will be the NBC Universal company which provides services to you or does business with you. NBC Universal is part of the Comcast family of companies, which includes Xfinity, Sky, and others, our related businesses. Please read this privacy policy carefully to understand how we handle your information. By using the services, you acknowledge you have read and understand the privacy policy and that we will collect, use and share your information as set forth below. Section 1. Personal information we collect and purposes. Section 1.1. Information we collect. In connection with providing the services, we collect information about you, and, if you allow others to use your services, about those individuals. Below, we explain the categories of information we collect and the purposes for which we use them. Each NBC Universal Services collection and usage of your information may vary. Section 1.1.1. Information you provide to us. Contact and account registration information, for example, name, email, postal address, telephone number, account username and password, business contact information about others that you provide, and any information you may provide to us at an event or in person. Identification information, demographics, and interests, for example, as permitted by law, date of birth, race, ethnicity, gender, interests, lifestyle information, school and sports information, photos, social media credentials. Commercial and transactional, for example, credit, debit card details, purchase history, delivery address, membership information, reservations and other travel-related information, meal preferences, and the personal details of your guests. Please note that payment information may be collected and processed by our payment processors. User-generated content, for example, photos, videos, audio, and other information you may submit to us, such as comments on our forums. Research and feedback, for example, comments that you send us through online forums and social media platforms, by email, over the phone, by mail, or in surveys. Audio and video, for example, audio recordings of customer service calls or security video footage if you visit one of our properties. Wellness and fitness data, for example, step counts or physical activity from connected apps or devices, fitness levels, wellness goals, nutritional preferences, and completed workout challenges. Biometric identifiers, for example, as permitted by law, facial scans or fingerprints we collect at some of our theme parks, studios, or our offices. Health data, for example, as permitted by law, vaccine or symptom-related information. Inferences. We may use the information you provide, along with the information we collect automatically and from third parties, to make inferences about you, including your preferences and interests. Section 1.1.2. Information we collect automatically from you and or your device. Device information and identifiers, for example, IP address, cookie IDs, browser type and language, operating system, platform type, device type, and advertising and app identifiers. Connection and usage, including information collected through cookies, for example, domain names, browsing activity, scrolling and keystroke activity, advertisements viewed, forms or fields you complete or partially complete, search terms, whether you open an email, content, including videos, you view and duration, quality of the service and interaction with the content, logs, and other similar information. If these events occur while you are offline, they may be logged and uploaded to us when you next connect. Geolocation, for example, city, state and zip code associated with your IP address are derived through Wi-Fi triangulation. We will ask for your permission before using your precise location from GPS-based functionality on your mobile devices. Please note, this information is considered sensitive under certain laws, and we process this information in accordance with applicable legal requirements. Section 1.1.3. Information we collect from others. Information from other users. For example, contact information, interests, school information, photos, other user-generated content that contains information about you. Information from public and commercial sources, including advertising and analytics partners, consumer data resellers, public records databases, content partners, and other business partners. For example, demographic including at a household level, contact information, inferences about your preferences, viewing and other consumption choices, loyalty program membership, and purchasing data. Our related businesses and previous affiliates, such as Versant and its brands, subject to their own policies and controls, we receive certain categories of information from our related businesses. If you used certain NBC Universal brands that are now part of Versant, we collected all the categories of information set forth in this policy. We may also receive information from Versant in the future. Social media information. For example, if you interact with us through a social media service or log in using social media credentials, depending on your social media settings, we may have access to your information from that social network, such as your name, email address, friend list, photo, age, gender, location, birthday, social networking ID, current city, your comments about our services, and the people, sites you follow. Information from third-party partners in connection with providing the NBC Universal services, including payment service providers, TV or internet service providers, media and streaming media device providers or retailers, mobile phone carriers, for example, contact information such as authentication information, account legitimacy, search requests and log events. Section 1.1.4. Information that we collect for business-to-business relationships. Business contact information. For example, company name, your name, email address, telephone number and job. Transactional information. For example, bank details of suppliers, credit, debit card details, purchase history, delivery address. Demographics. For example, as permitted by law, ethnicity, minority-owned businesses, gender, women-owned businesses. Due diligence information. For example, contact information, nationality, as permitted by law, job title, age, date of birth, gender, country of residence, employment and education information, public, religious, political or trade union role, each is permitted by laws, personal and professional affiliations, connections to criminal activities or offenses related to money laundering. Events information. For example, travel information including passport and visa, meal preferences and restrictions, payment details, and guests' details. Social media and lifestyle information. For example, if you interact with us on social media or other platforms as an influencer or an athlete, we may have access to your name, photos, age, gender, location, birthday, social networking ID, current city, interests, lifestyle information, list of followers, engagement with your posts, school and sports information. Information we collect automatically from you and or your device as described above. We collect information related to our business-to-business relationships from you, your company, your representatives, trade associations, social media, public information databases, business data resellers, publicly available sources, your sponsor and other partners, such as marketplaces, you or your company's responses to our due diligence questions, third-party risk, compliance screening and data validation tools and databases, such as those provided by LexisNexis Risk Solutions. Click here for more information. Section 1.2. How and when we use information, including for marketing and advertising. We use the information we collect to provide our services and communicate with you. We also use it to improve our services, develop new products and services, give recommendations, deliver personalized consumer experiences, including marketing and advertising for our own and others' products and services, and to comply with law, prevent and investigate fraud and other illegal activities, and for other safety and security purposes. Section 1.2.1. To provide the NBC Universal services, for example by responding to your requests or inquiries, including technical support, fulfilling orders you have placed, authenticating you or verifying your identity, identifying you or inferring your identity when you use the NBC Universal services on multiple devices or web browsers to provide continuity and for the purposes set forth below, providing ticketing, payment services, mapping guidance, and offers, displaying content you generate, such as video and comments, processing your information for promotional campaigns such as sweepstakes and contests, and for surveys, online and offline panels and focus groups. Section 1.2.2. To communicate with you, including for marketing purposes, for example by sending you service-related communications, sending you customized newsletters, surveys and information about products, services and promotions offered by NBC Universal, our related businesses, and partners with which we work. Managing business customer, supplier, and other business relationships, including pursuing potential business opportunities, issuing or paying invoices, sending event invitations, and managing access of business contacts to our systems. Section 1.2.3. To understand your use of and make improvements to our services, for example by carrying out research and analytics for uses including improving services and developing new ones. Create measurement and analytics reports for us and others. Section 1.2.4. To personalize the experience and deliver relevant advertising, for example by providing you with customized product experience, including personalized newsletters, viewing and other content recommendations from NBC Universal, our related businesses, and our other partners. Providing you with advertising, including targeted advertising, based on your activities and interests. Helping third-party advertisers and programmers deliver more relevant advertising on our services and other services and platforms, such as web, TV, and mobile, and offline. Creating and updating profiles and audience segments that can be used for analytics, targeted advertising and marketing purposes described above. Identifying you when you use the NBC Universal services. Section 1.2.5. To build and manage business-to-business relationships, for example, sending communications for business purposes and pursuing potential business opportunities. Managing customer, supplier and other business relationships. Sending event invitations, marketing emails and campaigns, and tracking the effectiveness of such communications. Conducting compliance and risk management activities for business-to-business relationships. Communicating with you as an influencer about a shared social media campaign and associated analytics. Section 1.2.6. To comply with law, prevent and investigate fraud and other illegal activities, and for other safety and security purposes. Compliance with laws and regulations. Managing risks to our business and protecting the reputation of our businesses. Protecting the safety and security of users and visitors to the NBC Universal services. Protecting our digital and physical properties. Detecting and preventing fraud and other activities that may be illegal or in violation of our terms of service for that respective NBC Universal service. Protecting against threats to our talent, leadership, workforce and organization. We may combine all the information we collect from or receive about you for the outlined purposes. We may aggregate or datidentify your information and may use, share, rent or sell aggregated or datentified information for any purpose, and such information is not subject to this privacy policy. Section 2. When we disclose your information. Our related businesses. We may disclose your personal information, including information that personally identifies you, to our related businesses for purposes consistent with those described in our privacy policy, including to provide you better services, to personalize your experience, and marketing and advertising. Click here to see the choices you have about how your information is used and disclosed. Service providers. We engage vendors to perform business purposes on our behalf and provide information to them to enable them to provide us with such business purposes, including research and analytics, hosting, transaction and payment processing, promotion administration, fraud prevention, identity management, acquisition and other services. Service providers may use such information for their operational purposes in order to provide their services to us. Audience measurement and analytics companies. We provide information about content you view on the NBC Universal services with video measurement services such as Nielsen TV ratings, as well as other analytics providers. See your rights and your choices sections for more information. Advertising partners. We may disclose information to better tailor marketing and advertising on our services and on third-party platforms. We may make available certain demographics and interest information, hashed contact information, user-generated content, device information and identifiers, connection and usage data, general geolocation data, for example, IP address and zip code, public and commercial information, and social media information. We may also use cookies or other technologies, including tracking technologies offered by third parties, to process this information and deliver personalized advertising to you when you visit other services, including advertising based on certain of your activities on our services. For more information about the use of cookies and other technologies on our, please see our cookie notice for details. Third-party partners. We may disclose your information to certain third-party partners such as former affiliates, like Versant and its brands, businesses whose products and services we think may interest you, businesses that provide part of the services you are using or have requested, and co-branded and loyalty program partners. Depending on the partnership, we may disclose certain information including contact information, identification and demographic and interest information, transactional information, user-generated content that you provide, research and feedback, device information and identifiers, connection and usage information, public and commercial information, and social media information. In some instances, such disclosure is at your direction. Partners may use your information pursuant to their own policies. Some examples of these disclosures include: if you enter a contest or sweepstakes, we may disclose your entry information to the sponsor. When you book travel packages with us that include goods or services provided by third-party partners, such as airlines, ground transportation providers, third-party hotels, and travel insurance providers, we disclose information necessary for those goods or services. If you participate in a loyalty program, we may disclose information to certain loyalty program partners. If you use a co-branded service, the co-branded partner may receive certain of your information. We disclose information to partners for service authentication. If you make a purchase for a third-party product in one of our online shops, we may disclose the information you provide to allow for the fulfillment of that order. If we believe you may be interested in a partner's products or services, we may disclose information for them to market to you. Social media platforms. We may disclose your information to social media platforms. For example, if you click on a social media like button on an NBC Universal service, the like may appear on your social media account. Or, you may choose to provide information directly on these platforms using sharing plugins. To control this sharing of information, please review and adjust your privacy settings for the relevant social media platform. Depending on your privacy settings and actions on such platform, we may disclose contact information, identification and demographic and interest information, user-generated content, device information and identifiers, connection and usage data, and social media information. Please be aware that certain social media platforms, such as Facebook Ireland, are joint controllers. See, for example, Facebook's terms here. Further information, including about the lawful basis relied upon by Facebook Ireland and how you may exercise your data subject rights, can be found in Facebook Ireland's data policy here. We have contracted with Facebook Ireland to determine our respective responsibilities for compliance with GDPR with regard to the joint processing. Other users. Depending on the NBC Universal service, you may be able to engage with other members of the service or the public. This may make the name and photo associated with your profile and any comments or user-generated content you provide visible to other members of that service or the general public. If the information is available to the general public, it may also be searchable by search engines. Government and other entities when required by law are to protect NBC Universal and others. We disclose any of the categories of information we collect, as appropriate, with these third parties, which include anti-fraud coalitions and other groups, in order to protect and enforce the legal rights, privacy, and safety of ourselves and our visitors, protect against possible fraud or other illegal activity, respond to requests from government and other authorities, and otherwise comply with legal process. Other sharing with your appropriate consent when required, and consistent with applicable law, we may disclose your video viewing behavior with other parties including our related businesses, service providers, advertising companies, analytic partners, and social media sites. Sale or transfer of all or part of our business or assets in the event that NBC Universal or any of its brands is involved in a merger, acquisition, transfer of control, bankruptcy, reorganization or sale of assets, we may sell or transfer the information described in this privacy policy as part of that transaction or diligence associated with or in contemplation of such matters. Section 3. Legal basis for use of your information. The laws of some jurisdictions, such as the European Union, the UK, or Brazil, require companies to tell you about the legal basis for using, sharing, or disclosing your information. To the extent those laws apply, we may rely on the following legal basis. Performance of a contract, where use of your information is necessary to provide you with NBC Universal services under a contract, for example the relevant terms of service. Legitimate interest, where use of your information is necessary for our or others' legitimate interests and where the use is not outweighed by your rights and interests. Below are some examples of such interests. Providing NBC Universal services. Improving our services and developing new ones. Recognizing and better understanding our users, including across platforms. Conducting security and fraud prevention activities. Marketing and promoting our content and services. Building and managing business-to-business relationships. Conducting compliance and risk management activities. Providing and managing access to our systems. Legal obligation, where use of your information is necessary to comply with laws and regulations such as those relating to anti-bribery and corruption and anti-money laundering, complying with requests from government bodies or courts, or responding to litigation. With consent, we may ask for your consent to process your information in a certain way. Where we rely on this basis, you have the right to withdraw your consent at any time. Please see your rights and your choices sections below to do this. Section 4. Children. Most of the NBC Universal services are intended for users of over the age of 18. Information about the practices of NBC Universal services directed to children under the age of 13 in the United States or 16 in the European Union or where we have actual knowledge a child is under such ages can be found in our children's privacy policy. If you are a parent or guardian and believe your child under 13 in the United States or under 16 in the European Union has provided us with personal information without consent, please contact us at privacy@nbcuni.com. Section 5. Your rights. Depending on where you live, you may have certain rights with respect to your information. You have the right not to be discriminated against, as provided for in applicable law, for exercising your rights under some local laws such as in California. For example, you may be able to ask us to provide access to certain information we hold about you, in some cases in a portable format, if technically feasible. Update or correct your information. Delete certain information. Restrict the use of or object to the processing of your information if you are in the UK, EU, or Switzerland. Request a list of third parties to which information was disclosed, Minnesota and Oregon residents only. Opt out of the sale or sharing or processing for targeted advertising as described in the rights described in Privacy Choices. Do not sell my personal information or share or process my personal information for targeted advertising below. Exceptions to and impacts of exercising privacy rights. We will respond within the time period prescribed by applicable law. Please note that many of the above rights are subject to exceptions and limitations. Your rights and our responses will vary based on your state or country of residency. Please note that you may be located in a jurisdiction where we are not obligated, or are unable, to fulfill a request. In such a case, your request may not be fulfilled. Some NBC Universal services can only be provided if we have your information, therefore deletion of your information will result in termination of such services. How to make a request, our verification process, and how to appeal a determination. Making a request. California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Maryland, Minnesota, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Oregon, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and Virginia residents with rights under local law may click here. In California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, Minnesota, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Oregon, Rhode Island, and Texas, their authorized agents may click here for access, correction, or deletion requests. Alternatively, California and Colorado residents or their authorized agents may call 1-800-447-0663 to make these requests. California residents may view annual California consumer request metrics here. Rhode Island residents may click here to view a list of third parties to which we have disclosed consumer personal data. U.S. residents who wish to learn more about access, correction, or deletion requests may click here. If you are based outside the U.S. and would like to exercise any individual right, please fill out this online form. For business partners who would like to exercise any individual right, please click here. If you are a California resident business contact and want to make a request, please click here. Verification. We will take reasonable steps to verify your identity, including authenticating you through the email address. We may require further documentation such as a password and user ID before granting access to your information. Appeals and complaints. Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Maryland, Minnesota, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Oregon, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia residents may appeal the denial of a request here. We will respond within the legally required time period, including a written explanation of the results of your appeal. If you have any unresolved concerns, you may have the right to complain to your Data Protection Authority. Privacy choices. Do not sell my personal information or share or process my personal information for targeted advertising. California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Maryland, Minnesota, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Oregon, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and Virginia residents may opt out of the sale of their personal information. Such residents may also opt out of the sharing or processing of their personal information for targeted advertising. We provide third parties such as advertising partners, certain third-party partners, and social media platforms, information including identification and demographics, device information and identifiers, such as IP address, and unique advertising identifiers and cookies, connection and usage information, such as browsing history or app usage, certain contact information, geolocation information, such as city, and inference data in order to recognize you across devices and enable marketing to you and delivery of targeted advertising on the NBC Universal services or on other sites. The disclosure of such personal information listed above to these third parties to assist us in providing these services may be considered a sale of personal information under applicable law and is sharing of personal information and the processing of personal information for targeted advertising purposes. We also disclose personal information to our related businesses as described above. In certain locations, such as California, certain of these disclosures may be considered a sale or sharing. If you or, in certain states where required by law, your authorized agent would like to opt out of NBC Universal's use or disclosure of your information for such purposes, To the extent this is considered a sale, share, or targeted advertising, you may do so in the footer or settings menu of the brand with which you engage by selecting the Your Privacy Choices link in the footer or in the Application Settings menu. You may still receive advertising, including personalized ads based on NBC Universal data on the services. On some of our websites and applications, when you click the Your Privacy Choices link in the website footer or in the Application Settings menu, you will be shown a tool that allows you to opt out of the online sales and sharing, processing of personal information for targeted ads on the website and application. Please note, if you use different browsers, devices, or services, you will need to make your election separately. In some cases, you may also be presented with form fields to complete. In those cases, we ask for your email address or other information so we may add it to an appropriate suppression list. In other cases, you will be directed to this page where we provide additional information and options for you to learn more about your choices and how to opt out from interest-based advertising more broadly. If we do not detect that you are in California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Iowa, Indiana, Kentucky, Maryland, Minnesota, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Oregon, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, or Virginia, we cannot ensure your opt-out of sale or sharing. Processing for targeted advertising data choices will be honored by all third parties even if you take the actions described above. Please note that if you have a legally recognized browser-based opt-out preference signal turned on via your device browser, such as Global Privacy Control, we recognize such preference in accordance and to the extent required by applicable law. Sensitive data. We may use certain sensitive personal information as allowable by law for purposes including analytics and to enable marketing to you in the delivery of targeted advertising on the NBC Universal services or other sites, such displaying an ad relevant to your precise location data. You can change your precise geolocation permissions for our mobile apps in your mobile device settings. Additional information for California residents is available here. Incentive and loyalty programs, California and Colorado residents only. The services may offer opportunities to receive certain benefits such as discounts or free or extended services which California may consider to be a financial incentive, an incentive, or certain loyalty programs that may qualify as a financial incentive under California law or bona fide loyalty program under Colorado law. To learn more about our incentive programs, including how to opt in and how to withdraw, please visit here. Third parties list, Shine the Light, California residents only. California's Shine the Light law, California Civil Code Section 1798.83, allows residents to request a list of all the third parties to which we have disclosed certain personal information, as defined by California's Shine the Light law, during the preceding year where the business knows or reasonably should know that the third parties use the personal data for those third parties' direct marketing purposes. Direct marketing purposes means the use of personal data to solicit or induce a purchase, rental, lease, or exchange of products, goods, property, or services directly to individuals by means of the mail, telephone, or electronic mail for their personal, family, or household purposes. However, a business is not required to provide this information where it adopts and discloses, in its privacy policy, a policy of not disclosing personal data to third parties for their direct marketing purposes, 1. Unless the resident first affirmatively agrees, or 2. If the resident has exercised an option that prevents that information from being disclosed. NBC Universal maintains such a policy and thus is not required to provide this information. Please see Privacy Choices, Do Not Sell My Personal Information or Share or Process My Personal Information for Targeted Advertising in your rights in this privacy policy. California residents may contact us at 30 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, 10112, U.S., NBC Universal, Legal Department, Attention, Chief Privacy Officer. In the body of your request, you must include California Shine the Light request, your name, a current California address including street address, city, state, and zip code, as well as sufficient information for us to determine if the law applies to you. You will need to attest to the fact that you are a California resident. We will not accept requests by telephone, email, or facsimile, and we are not responsible for notices that are not labeled or sent properly, or that do not have complete information. Nevada residents. NBC Universal does not engage in the following activity, however Nevada law requires us to post the following. Certain Nevada consumers may opt out of the sale of covered information for monetary consideration. Covered information includes first and last name, address, email address, phone number, or an identifier that allows a specific person to be contacted either physically or online. If you are a Nevada resident who has purchased goods or services from NBC Universal, you may submit a request to opt out of any potential future sales under Nevada law by filling out this form. We will maintain your request in the event our practices change. Notice to customers of Universal Studios Japan. For customers of Universal Studios Japan, NBC Universal and Universal Studios Japan may use your personal information jointly as follows. The information set forth in Section 1 of this privacy policy, personal information we collect and purposes. The scope of entities who will use the personal information are set forth in Section 2 of this privacy policy, when we share your information. For questions, requests, or complaints related to the jointly used personal information, you may contact USJ, LLC, who is responsible for the management of the jointly used personal information, at privacy@usj.co.jp. For customers of Universal Studios Japan who have questions or complaints related to Universal Studios Japan's privacy practices, you may contact Universal Studios Japan directly by emailing privacy@usj.co.jp, or calling 0570-20-0606, or writing to 2-133 Sakurajima, Kanahana-ku, Osaka 554-0031 Japan, USJ, LLC. For issues related to Club Universal, please visit the Club Universal inquiry page. Section 6. Your choices. Marketing opt-outs. You can opt out of or unsubscribe from our promotional emails by clicking the unsubscribe link they contain. Please note, if you do so, that we may continue to send you emails relating to administrative and transactional interactions with us, such as emails about orders, changes to our policies, or content and services that you have specifically requested. You may also unsubscribe from receiving certain text, SMS, or multimedia, MMS, messages by replying, "Stop," to the number sending the message. When we engage in SMS communications with you, separate terms we present to you may apply or supplement these terms. Cookies and similar technologies. We and our service providers, advertisers, and other third parties use cookies and similar technologies, for example, HTTP cookies, HTML5, web beacons, GIFs, embedded scripts, e-tags, cache browsers, hashed identifiers, and software development kits, to recognize you on, off, and across NBC Universal services in your devices. For more information about the use of cookies and similar technologies on the NBC Universal services, including your opt-out choices, please see our cookie notice. Mobile app and connected devices. Depending on the device you use, you may be able to manage your advertising and location preferences through your device settings and as outlined in our cookie notice. Many operating systems provide their own instructions on how to prevent the delivery of tailored in-application advertisements. We do not control how the applicable platform operator allows you to manage personalized in-application advertisements. You should review your device manufacturer's support materials and/or the device settings for the respective operating systems for more detail on how to manage such preferences. You can also choose to connect external apps and devices to certain NBC Universal services. For example, you can link your Apple Health app to certain NBC Universal services so that we can use it with other information we collect to provide you with tailored wellness and nutrition plans based on your fitness and activity information and personalized content and product recommendations. You can control the data that you share with NBC Universal using your app or device settings. You can stop all collection of information by a mobile app by uninstalling the app. Opt out of video measurement research by Nielsen. NBC Universal video services may feature Nielsen proprietary measurement software that will allow you to contribute to market research, like Nielsen's TV ratings. To learn more about Nielsen digital measurement products and your choices in regard to them, including in mobile apps and connected devices, please visit nielsen.com/digitalprivacy for more information. Third-party online services. NBC Universal services may be provided through and/or utilize features, such as voice controls, of third-party platforms or contain links to third-party services. These other platforms, such as gaming systems, smart TVs, mobile devices, and set-top boxes, and sites, even if co-branded as NBC Universal, may collect information about you and use this information in accordance with their own privacy policies and terms of service. We do not control those third parties' policies or practices. Where NBC Universal collects personal information on a co-branded website or service, we will provide a link to our privacy policy as appropriate. In some circumstances, NBC Universal may host some websites on behalf of others, and those entities may place or permit the placement of cookies and other tracking technology. NBC Universal is not responsible for these tracking practices. Section 7. How we protect your information. We maintain organizational, technical, and physical safeguards to help protect the information we collect and use. These safeguards vary depending upon a variety of factors, including the sensitivity of the information we collect and use. Despite all reasonable practices, no security method is infallible. Section 8. How long we keep your information. We will keep your information only for as long as it is necessary to fulfill the purposes described above, unless a longer retention is required or permitted by law. In determining how long to retain information, we consider the amount, nature, and sensitivity of the information, the potential risk of harm from unauthorized use or disclosure of the information, the purposes for which we process the information, applicable legal requirements, and our legitimate interests. The purposes for which we process information, as well as the other factors listed above, may dictate different retention periods for the same types of information. For example, We retain your email address as an authentication credential, where applicable, as long as you have an account with us and an additional period of time after that for our legitimate interests and for our fraud and legal compliance purposes. If you opt out of email marketing, we maintain your email on our suppression list for an extended time to comply with your request. We may delete or de-identify your information sooner if we receive a verifiable deletion request, subject to exemptions under applicable law. The retention period that applies to your information may vary depending on the NBC Universal services you use and how you interact with them. Some NBC Universal services may provide additional details on their data retention practices, so we encourage you to consult their website and/or FAQs. In addition, in the event you have an account that holds credits, point balances, or other entitlements, we may continue to hold the account to allow you to obtain the benefit in accordance with the relevant terms and conditions. Section 9. International Transfers. NBC Universal is a global company and has its headquarters in the United States. We may transfer your information to related companies, service providers, and other third parties located outside of your country of residence, including in the United States. This is necessary to provide our services and for the purposes outlined in this privacy policy. Data privacy laws vary from country to country and may not be equivalent to, or as protective as, the laws in your home country. We take steps to ensure that reasonable safeguards are in place with aim to ensure an appropriate level of protection for your information, in accordance with applicable law. These measures include data transfer agreements. By providing us with your information, you acknowledge any such transfer, storage, or use. Section 10. Updates to our privacy policy. We reserve the right to amend this privacy policy at any time to reflect changes to our practices or the law. We will make the revised privacy policy accessible through the NBC Universal services. Please check the NBC Universal services periodically for updates. The date at the top of the privacy policy tells you when it was last updated. If we make material changes to the way we collect or use your information, you will be provided with appropriate notice, including by, but not limited to, posting the updated privacy policy on this website, and providing notice in accordance with legal requirements. Any changes to this privacy policy will become effective when the revised privacy policy is posted. By continuing to use the NBC Universal services following any changes to this privacy policy, you acknowledge you have read and understand the updated privacy policy, and you understand that we will collect, use, and share information as stated therein. Section 11. Contact us. For any questions or complaints about this privacy policy or our privacy practices, please contact us here. You can also contact us at 30 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, 10112, USA, NBC Universal, Legal Department, Attention, Chief Privacy Officer. The UK representative of our US-based NBC Universal entities is NBC Universal International Limited, 1 Central St. Giles High Street, London, WC2H, 8NU, United Kingdom. The EU representative of our US-based NBC Universal entities is Universal Studios International BV, Normanscade 421, 1013, BC Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Germany. If you are using NBC Universal services provided by Universal Pictures Germany GmbH or Universal Pictures International Germany GmbH, you can contact our German Data Protection Officer. You can contact the German Data Protection Officer, the UK representative, or the EU representative by emailing privacy@nbcuni.com and stating which of the above you would like to contact. Section 12. Candidate Privacy Policy. To find out more about the information we collect during our recruitment process, please see our Candidate Privacy Policy. We have separate privacy policies for workforce data. This has been a reading of the NBC Universal Privacy Policy, last updated November 17, 2025. A link to the full text can be found in the video's description. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.